And now the weather, early voting numbers, the PUB Fiasco, and the $1 million scam at BISD. It is Wednesday, October 26th, 7:17 a.m. My name is Frankie Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville. Now, it has been nice and breezy these past few days, and living in South Texas, we have to take advantage of this weather. It seems as if we could count the number of times on our hands the days in which it is nice and fresh, where we're able to bust out the San Marcos, the Letterman, and our Long Johns. In the city of Brownsville, we're looking at a cool 85 degrees. Harlingen, 85 as well. South Padre Island, the Cabrera boys, Jason, are looking at a cool 78 degrees. Clouds will be out this morning, which will eventually lead to sunshine this afternoon. The highs will climb into the lower to mid 80s, or slightly below the normal for this time in late October. We are expecting some rainfall starting on Thursday, and the chance of rain does increase on Friday here in South Texas. If you look at Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, it should be sunny. So Thursday, we do have a 20% chance of rain. The lows will be in the high 50s to mid 60s. On Friday, the percentage of precipitation does grow up to 60%, with the highs being 60 to 70 degrees. Now, let's get good morning, Ms. Rocha. I hope you have a good day. Now, let's get right into it. We are in the middle of early voting, and Brownsville, are you ready? Are you ready to vote? It is time for one of the biggest elections, one of the most important elections that we have moving forward. And we need to focus. We need to focus on those candidates that represent us in office. We have spoken about how year in and year out, election through election, we always have candidates that come and promise us the world. But then once they go into office, unfortunately, it's a whole different ballgame. We have to vet our client. We have to vet our elected officials. There is still time. We still have 2 weeks. If you are one of those that want to wait throughout early voting, there are some people that choose to vote early. There are some people that prefer to vote on election day. Election day for us will be Tuesday, November the 4th. Nonetheless, you and I can agree that it is very important for us to take part in the electoral process. It seems as if the city of Brownsville is a mess. If we look at just about every government entity, there's something in there. Do they have skeletons in the closet? Of course. If we look at BISD, which is our feature story today, they are losing numbers. Teacher morale is shot, and then we do have a scam. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. At BISD, no accountability. We have PUB running AWOL, stealing from one of the poorest citizens in our area. And do we see the urgency from our city commission? Do we see the urgency from our county commissioners even? It seems as if we're fighting this fight all alone. But maybe that's just me. I encourage my friends and family. Again, we do have 2 weeks of early voting. Take part in the process. Many individuals say, my vote doesn't count. There have been elections, Marisa Leal in particular, 2 years ago against Minerva Peña. Her turnout, her vote, the results of the voting was because of a few votes, less than 10. So every vote does count. If we take a look at the numbers for these past 2 days, and where can we go vote? The American Legion, at the Glass Palace at BISD, the administrative building, the Bob Clark Social Service Center, the Brownsville Public Library, where we are located at, and the Cameron County El Centro Cultural, the community center. And if we look at the numbers, it's very impressive numbers, especially if you're looking at the Brownsville Public Library. On Monday, they got close to 1,500 votes. And yesterday, Tuesday, October 25th, they brought in close to 1,400 votes. The next one in line is the American Legion Hall. Now, again, we will be out at the public library. We have been for these past few days. It has been a great turnout. We encourage our friends and family to continue to remind individuals that are going to vote, to elect individuals that are going to be champions for the city of Brownsville. We need individuals on the Cameron County Commissioners Court that are going to be our champion. Individuals that will question authority, that will question those decision makers and say, is this in the best interest of my constituents? Is this in the best interest for the county? For far too long, individuals have used their position, our position, on those government entities. For Cameron County, I encourage my community and friends to vote Castro and to vote Gascos. It is very, very important. Again, 2 weeks of early voting. Election day is on November the 8th. For these first 2 days, we've had great turnout. If you want to come out and honk your horn, please come out. We will be out there. I have been coming and going. I've got to call clients and keep up with my job, but we are out there supporting candidates that will be our champion. If you want to stop by, say hello. If not, just honk if you're happy to see us. We will be out there at the early voting. Sure, I will post it up very quickly. And these polls, ladies and gentlemen, one person asked me, are we able to see, where the candidates are so far? And we can't. The numbers that are shown here is just the total overall numbers of the people that came out to vote. We won't know who's in the lead up until election day. On election day on November the 8th at 7:15, Remy Garza with the Cameron County Elections Department, they do release the early voting numbers. And the candidates at that time, they kind of have an idea of where they stand in the race. But nonetheless, our focus should be getting people to go out to vote. That is the very important thing. Call your friends, call your family. If anybody needs a ride, so here you go, Vel. If anybody needs a ride, I'll be more than happy to go myself. If I can't, we'll direct you to individuals who could give you a ride. If you want to know the polling locations, you have them here on the screen. Again, it is very, very important. We have 2 weeks. We have 2 weeks for us to prepare, to make as many phone calls, drive as many people as we can to the polls. But ultimately, we have our duty, our civic duty, to come out and vote. We do have the polling locations. If you have any questions or concerns, please go ahead and message me, text me, call me. I'll be sure to assist you in any way that I can. Now, the topic of discussion as of late, of course, has been PUB. And it has been very sad to hear of the stories of those individuals who are dealing with this PUB fiasco. And one thing that we can all agree upon is that this situation has affected people from all walks of life. And while individuals who have good paying jobs, who do have good careers, are able to afford it, the ones that we are fighting for, the ones that we are speaking out for, are those individuals that live on a fixed income. It is beautiful to know that individuals, have friends and family that if they do need a couple $100, they are able to ask for a loan. They are able to ask for their loved one. But when it comes down to it, a large majority of our population here is our elderly folks, those individuals that live on a fixed income. We don't have the luxury of having individuals here locally in the city of Brownsville that have multiple resources, that have great careers. Again, Brownsville, Texas is one of the least educated cities in the nation. Also, we are one of the poorest. So don't you see that as a bad combination? Low education, low pay. It is a bad formula for success. So the reasons why we keep on talking about PUB is because our elected officials, the PUB board members, they're just trying to save face. It wasn't until they saw the urgency, the uproar from the community, people of the likes of Kayla, Susan, Erasmo Castro, and numerous other individuals that have come and asked these hard questions from our board, from our city commission, and from our PUB board. Haven't you noticed, ladies and gentlemen, that now whenever the uproar has come, now it's the city commission's like, oh, wait, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Even PUB, oh, no, we're going to give you 11% and we're going to give money back. Da, 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 da. Where was the urgency a few years ago? Where was the urgency? Didn't they know that our family was suffering? Do you really think that they care? We have heard and people such as the likes of the public speakers, Kayla, Susan, and Erasmo, have brought to light how many individuals who sit on this PUB board have conflicts of interest. That some firms, some businesses in which they have ties to were consultants. You would think, so then they had a reason not to bring this up. They had reasons to hide from this. Haven't you noticed that not a peep was said back in 2017, 2018, when the audit report showed that individuals knew that this was never going to come into fruition, but they didn't say a word. Yesterday, there was a special board meeting for the city at 1:15. You know, I hate those timings where they kind of make it tough for individuals to attend. But hey, nonetheless, they did have a meeting. There was public comments that were allowed. But the interesting thing has been what is going to happen with the money in question. And we have talked about the individuals who benefited from it. You have heard of the consultants, you have heard of the attorneys. And the sad thing to report is that even our own county judge had his hand, how one of my friends said, has his hand in the masa. Did nobody else see that there was a conflict of interest? Was he the only attorney on board? Obviously not. There were numerous attorneys. According to former Secretary of State, Judge Carlos Cascos, he states, and if you see on his page, he alludes to the fact that the county judge was billing hours that one could possibly not perform. Now, we understand that it wasn't him per se, it was his firm as a group, but nonetheless, whenever you talk to individuals and you say, hey, what's the first thing that comes into your mind when you think of PUB? You know what people will say? Eddie Trevino. They associate PUB with Eddie Trevino. And what do they say? What do they associate that to? Hubo chamuco. Hubo movida. $2 million was at stake. And nobody found in their hearts to say, hey, this is wrong. Something has to change. Yesterday at the city commission, they did talk about numerous things. One of the things that was talked about was the $29 million that is left. Now, the estimates, the numbers given, the figure given by the audit report shows that over $118 million ever since the inception of the Tanasca plant was created, over $118 million was raised in one of the poorest areas in the nation. And the only thing that we have left, ladies and gentlemen, out of those 118 is 29 million. Now I ask you, what about the rest of the money? Now, if I rob a bank, if I'm a bank robber and I steal, let's say I steal $100 from the bank account, from a bank teller. I go into the bank and I steal, let's say, keep it small figure, $100. I get caught and they catch me. The police catches me with $20. How much do you think I'm on the hook for? Think about it. I go to a bank. I pass a note to a teller and say, give me everything you got in your drawer. The teller gives me $100. I take it. I steal it. I steal $100. The police catches me with $20 in my pocket. How much do you think I'm on the hook for? Do you think I'm on the hook for $20? Because ya me gasté $80 en comida, en mandado. Or do you think the police will want me on the hook for the $100? Isn't that the same thing that we're dealing with this $29 million? People are upset and they're saying, hey, don't give me a piece of the pie. We want the whole damn pie. We want it back. How in your right mind? And again, who sits on the city commission, ladies and gentlemen? Businessmen, attorneys, entrepreneurs. How would they like it if their establishments were stolen from? If their establishments were defrauded, you would think that they would only want a percentage of the pie? No, they would ask for to be reimbursed the full amount. That is something that we are fighting for and will continue to advocate for. Hey, we don't want crumbs. You took 118, give me back 118. What the hell am I going to do with 29 million? Well, I can think of 29 million reasons what to do with 29 million, but you and I can agree. We want the full amount. Am I right? Is it logical to think that, they take 118, but they only give us 29? Ah, que chulos. It's just a way for them to say, here, look, we're giving it back. No, we want more. We want it all. If that means that PUB has to go bankrupt, so be it. It wasn't our decision. It wasn't the community's decision to go into this mess. Why should we pay for their ups? Why should we be on their hook for their misdealings? It is sad to report that nobody on the city commission seems to agree that we deserve the 118. They're trying to spoon feed us and shut us up and say, here's the 29 million. Shut up. They want it to go away, but it's not going to go away. Also, yesterday, a few issues were discussed regarding the Tedesca Gate and the city response to it. We saw how they were going to be rolling back. They were going to be rolling back the rates, the pre-Tedesca rates, by a total of 22%. And this will go into effect December the 1st. Also, they will stop temporarily. They will stop all disconnection notices and or delinquent payments. Again, PUB does not find it in their heart to stop this. It had to come from the city commission. Now, again, the rules and regulations and any I was going to say litigation, no, but any rulings obviously have to come from the city. But PUB, it took PUB some time in order for them to say, oh, people are suffering. Oh, grandmas and grandpas can't afford to pay for these late payments. Well, maybe we should stop, the disconnection notices. No. How long have we been at this? And they're finally at the 11th hour saying, oh, okay. Well, I guess we can delay the disconnection notices. I think we can delay those people that don't have enough to pay. Again, this is your city commission, ladies and gentlemen. They also created and appointed charter review committee board members. Some individuals I do know. Some really I don't. I think we have an engineer, we have an attorney on there. There were preliminary discussions, and ultimately the board did vote on their selection for the charter committee. The only one that has not nominated his candidate is Commissioner Roy de los Santos. Also, there was a creation and appointment of the city commission members for a joint subcommittee with PUB. The other options that include are the fees, the rates, the funds collected, and the overall and the overall operations of PUB. But it goes to show, why was it until the 11th hour where these individuals finally said, okay, all right. Andan fregando, okay, here's 29 million, here, shut up. Oh, you want your money back? Okay, here's your money back. Oh, you can't pay? Oh, I'm sorry, pobrecitos. Okay, here, we're not gonna disconnect your thing. Late fees. Oh, we're gonna waive late fees. At the 11th hour, ladies and gentlemen, according to the audit report, individuals knew that back in 2017, 2018, Tanasca plant was not going to come into fruition. In 2020, it was when they finally revealed and said, nothing's going to happen. If it was known in 2018, we should have known then. Once we got word of 2020 that this was not going to happen, we should have done the return of the money then, 2 years ago. 2 years ago in 2020, we should have said, no one's going to have to pay. There will be no disconnection notices. There won't be no late fees. Our city commission, ladies and gentlemen, is reactive. They're not proactive. They're not leaders. Same thing with our PUB board. They waited until the masses were pissed off. They waited until the masses stormed the PUB building. On that day, ladies and gentlemen, when we went, they had 8 law enforcement officers there. They were waiting for a riot. Ladies and gentlemen, there is not even 8 security officers, 8 policemen at Oliveira Middle School, which is next door. And you and I can agree, school safety is paramount for every person, every loved one. They had more security at a school at PUB. What does that go to show you? They know we're pissed off. They know individuals are angry. They know they're upset. Why didn't they do this 2 years ago when they finally found out and it became public? It wasn't until, ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't until the masses started getting word. Once the masses were pissed off and said, you know what, let's go to PUB. Let's protest. Let's show them how dissatisfied we are. But that, my friends, is our PUB board and our city commission. They are reactive instead of proactive. Yesterday, Zeke Silva came on the Erasmo Castro show, and Zeke Silva has been an individual that has been very vocal throughout his time, and things that he has fought for have been, such as the likes of Fly Frontera with Quintanilla. That was an issue back 10 years ago that individuals on the city commission tried to promote. It was a fly to nowhere. It was a scam pretty much. And one thing that Zeke Silva said that really caught my attention was when he mentioned that he said that these businesses, whether that be Fly Frontera, whether that be Tanasca plant and others, that they see Brownsville as dummies. They see Brownsville that they'll fall for any scam, that they will get into negotiations when it really doesn't benefit us. Again, one of the poorest areas in the whole nation, that is Brownsville, Texas. We seem to be duped. Tenemos la P en nuestra cabeza. Do they see us as fools? Or are our elected officials, are they part of that movida? Haven't you noticed that the Casa de Nylon, which we will be having a feature story on Friday regarding Mayor Martinez and the Golonsky family, what they have brought to Brownsville? That will be our feature story on Friday. But when you really think about all these wheelings and dealings from the city commission and our elected officials, it seems as if the city of Brownsville is always the dummy. Los miran con la P en la frente. Why? Because we seem to get duped year in and year out. And, right now, everybody is struggling economically, ladies and gentlemen. The COVID-19 pandemic did affect, it continues to affect many individuals. And what do we see? We're getting scams. We can all agree that we get calls galore. I want to say that I get at least 5 scam calls. We have heard of individuals saying that, they work for PUB, and if you if you don't give them the information, your credit card information, that they're going to disconnect your notices. There are scams going out there. And you and I can agree. We have heard of someone that has either fallen prey to it or that has been called and they question, hey, is this legit? Let's speaking about PUB, let's not forget about the close to 1.2, 1.3 million dollars that happened at PUB, where there was an email sent on a contractor, a vendor, a contractor, saying, hey, I need you to reissue this payment, but to this different account. And we saw that PUB was duped. The FBI had to get involved. I haven't heard, and this was maybe about a year, possibly going on 2 years. We haven't heard of the outcome of this scam, but we did find out that the feds were involved. They had to get involved. But you and I can agree that it seems as if the city of Brownsville were always duped. We're always scammed. Now, my question is, are the city officials a part of it? Do they have an idea? Are they themselves duped? Again, on the city commission, I'm proud to say that, we don't have, someone that's not educated, someone that doesn't have a business, these are very high intellectual people, ladies and gentlemen. Now, are they playing dumb? Or are they a part of the scheme? Now, again, the city of Brownsville at PUB has been scammed for $1.3 million. Now, what if I told you that there was a scam out there right before the election, another scam right before the election, and there was an individual that wanted to keep it hush, hush? Why? Because his horses, his number 4, that want him to remain in power, might be part of the $1 million scam. BISD, as of late, is the latest victim to a two-way scam. It is said, according to the blogs, that BISD got scammed for over $1 million. And Maggie Aguilar stated that the school district didn't vet one of the vendors well enough, and the vendor took the money and ran. Someone contacted the school district pretending to be a vendor and gave false information on where to make payments. And so the school district sent the money to the scammer instead of the vendor. The superintendent fell for a Nigerian prince who asked for money up front to be able to cash in on his family's inheritance. Not sure about this one. However, there is a possibility that the super just wanted to help someone out. Again, are we the dumbest area in the nation? Well, according to the statistics, we are the least educated. We are the poorest and the least educated in the whole nation. Now, if what Maggie alludes to is correct, that she says at the very end that there is a possibility that the super wanted to help someone out. Now, BISD just recently fell scam for $1 million. Have you heard this on the news? Have you heard this of 3 different payments being dished out? One for $162,000, another for $157,000, and another for $427,000. Have you heard of that? Now you're probably thinking and saying, Frankie, you're just trying to blow smoke. You're supporting candidates who are on the other side of the aisle, and it is in your best interest to bring this up to light. It's not true, Frankie. Where are the documents? Where is your proof? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the rice is always in the pudding. Here at Good Morning Brownsville, we pride ourselves in presenting information to our community that is beneficial to each and every one of us. And we don't just say things just to say it. We bring documents. We are document-driven, fact-driven platform. Here we have the first payment, and I'm going to zoom in if you allow me to. Here we have the payment to the contractor, NM Contracting, and this was for the Sam Stadium parking lot and restrooms and concession stands. The payment that was done to this NM bogus contracting was for $427,000. And guess who signed off on it at the very bottom? You guessed it. Dr. Rene Gutierrez. That is one invoice. The second invoice goes out to the very same contracting firm NM Contracting for the same job for the Sam Stadium parking lot concession stands. Now this one, the first one was for 427. This invoice that I'm showing you on the screen is for $457,000. And who signed it at the bottom? Who gave the final approval? You guessed it. The superintendent, Rene Gutierrez. Now the last one will show, the last payment will show, again, the invoice to NM Contracting for $162,000. And who signed off on it? You guessed it, Dr. Rene Gutierrez. Now, you would think that if a scam of $1 million happened, it would make the airways. The school board members would want accountability and say, what happened? Where did this money go? But again, we have someone at BISD, at the helm, in charge of BISD, that does not want the public to know, our very own superintendent. Now, you may ask, why does this individual not want for this information to get out? Well, because it might affect his candidates. It might affect those individuals, the majority on the board, trying to seek re-election. Now, if we talk very quickly, Hernandez brings up a good point. What if he is a part of this scheme? $1 million goes a long way, ladies and gentlemen. That's a big pie. You can split that pie in numerous ways. That's a good point. What if Rene Gutierrez is involved in this? Now, BISD, ever since Sylvia Atkinson was found guilty for bribery, the logical thing for BISD to do would be to perform a forensic audit. We have a board member here who was charged, convicted of bribery. As a board, we would want to know, hey, are there skeletons in her closet at BISD? The logical thing, ladies and gentlemen, would be for individuals to request a forensic audit. I do not have the exact number or the exact years, I'm sorry, but a forensic audit has not been performed at BISD, I know for sure, in 2 years. I want to say maybe in 8 years. Again, I'm not privy to that information, but I can guarantee you that a forensic audit on BISD that has a budget of over $500 million has not had a forensic audit in years. You would think that a Fortune 500 company with the budget the size of BISD, over $500 million, they would do audits galore. They would do forensic audits every quarter, every 6 months, at least every year. Why? Because as a business, you want to know where you're losing money, where your money goes to, if all those individuals are getting proper pay, if you're negative, if you're red, where we need to improve. Every business, ladies and gentlemen, whether it's a small mom and pop, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a restaurant, they do accountability. They check their numbers. We haven't had a forensic audit. That just goes to show you why. Is there skeletons in the closet at BISD? Should they be worried? And the candidates themselves. Now, board president Eddie Garcia did post that he is voting for, and he's voting for his candidates, of course. But one thing that he fails to recognize is you can't use campaign literature. You can't be publicizing the candidates using BISD logo, using BISD flyers. Again, that's something that he obviously doesn't know, being a board president. But hey, we'll let it slide this time. I encourage my friends and family to be aware of what is going on, ladies and gentlemen. We are only 2 days into early voting. Have you heard about the $1 million scheme that is happening at BISD? Don't you think this is paramount? Don't you think that this is big? Again, this wasn't a few couple bucks. No, this was $1 million, ladies and gentlemen. You would think that this would make national news, that this would make the press. But again, we have individuals on the school board. That want to keep things hush-hush. They want to keep things status quo. Well, I'm here to inform you that we have individuals that are running to better the lives of teachers, to bring accountability back into the district, to boost the morale of the teachers. And one thing that I've asked these candidates about is that forensic audit. Will these individuals will they do they prefer a forensic audit? Is that one of the first things that they will do? And they said, you best believe it. Individuals that we support have openly stated that this position that we elect them to won't be their position, but it will be ours as a community. Individuals such as Victor Caballero, Carlos Elizondo, and Frank Ortiz. We're 2 days into early voting, ladies and gentlemen. We need to inform our community what is going on at BISD because those in charge don't want you to know. And again, that is taxpayer money, ladies and gentlemen, that they're dealing with. Don't you think if they were defrauded, we deserve to know? But again, we have a superintendent whose only mission is to have these individuals reelected so he can keep his job. CEO is what I'm hearing throughout the streets of Brownsville. C is for Caballero, E is for Elizondo, and O is for Ortiz. These men all promise to bring integrity back to the school board, accountability back, and one thing that they are vocal and have been advocating for is to open up the books. They have stated that they want a forensic audit. It is only up to us to make sure that we elect the right individuals for BISD. CEO is what BISD needs. C for Caballero, E for Elizondo, and O for Ortiz. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. And now the weather. It is beautiful weather. It has been this past few days. We've been out in the polls at the public library. On Monday, it was cloudy. Yesterday, it was windy. But nonetheless, we'll take those over a hot and sunny day. I encourage my friends and family to stop by. Pass by the public library. Honk if you're happy to see us. Wave if you're happy to see us. It is beautiful weather to be out in the city of Brownsville. We encourage our friends and family to take part in the electoral process. We did state how the public library, they have great numbers, a great turnout for these 2 days. On Monday, it was close to 1,500 voters. On Tuesday, it was close to 1,400 voters. Great numbers, 3,000 votes just in that location for 2 days. Great numbers. We encourage our friends and family to continue and motivating those individuals to come out and vote. The early voting numbers are out. They are promising, but again, we can't let up. We need to continue to motivate individuals to go out and vote. The PUB fiasco. Again, these city commissioners, these PUB board members, they knew 2 years ago what we were dealing with. It wasn't until the uproar, the community started being outraged that they were like, okay, I guess we'll give you your money back. I guess we'll do something for you since, y'all are up in arms. Our city commission, our PUB board members, even at the county, nobody made a peep, while our abuelitos, our abuelitas, our elderly people on fixed income, light were disconnected. They had to make the tough decisions whether to pay for medication or to pay for the light. They didn't do jack squat. Now when the attention is brought upon them, now when the TV cameras, Channel 4, Channel 5 is on them, oh yes, now we want to do the right thing and we're going to do this sub-charter committee and we're going to give 29 million back. We do not want 29 million back. We want 118 back. Again, a bank robber, if he steals $100 and they find him with 20, how much is he on the hook for? That sucker is on the hook for $100. Same thing with PUB. They took 118. They want to give us 29 back. Doesn't work that way. If you're a businessman, does that make sense? That makes absolutely no sense. And the $1 million scam at BISD, was our superintendent a part of this scam? Why is it that not a peep was made? Because he is trying to protect his candidates. He wants individuals that will not question his role, not question what he is doing. Again, individuals want the status quo to remain. They don't want to open up the books. They don't want to have a forensic audit. Why? Because BISD has a lot of skeletons in their closet. 3 individuals that have promised to fight, to be advocates for the community on the school board have stated it won't be my seat. It will be our seat as a community. CEO is what Brownsville needs at BISD. C for Caballero, E for Lizondo, and O for Ortiz. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. It is Wednesday, October 28th, 7:57 a.m. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. Stop by. Make sure you take part of the electoral process. I'll be out at the public library. Honk if you're happy, wave if you're happy, and even people have thrown me the finger, but at least they know that we're out there. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. I hope to see you here on Wednesday. God bless.